So this
It's
is
a
going to be
new
your.
episode. Oh, sorry. Go ahead,
Ooh,
Ian.
this is going to be your
Yay.
first salvo. I'm so excited for the salvo,
First
man.
salvo. I had an opening salvo ready, but this is different now. This came up naturally.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Beforehand,
Okay.
as
Go
Nick
tie in.
was reminiscing about the infamous train story from our top.
Oh, it's
10
infamous.
things.
Oh,
Would you
the
call it
fans,
famous?
they love it, dude.
Because I wouldn't either. It got more reviews than most of our videos, but
Oh, okay.
Oh no.
anyway,
I mean, yay.
Nick's train story from from top 10 2024 or 2024 ranked.
Yeah.
Right.
Or no, it was personal top 10s.
Personal top 10,
Personal
yeah.
Yeah.
If you want the full story, go check that out.
It is funny. It is unfortunate.
It is very unfortunate.
It's both of those things.
Anyway, it came back up. We were workshopping the idea. What if Nick tells the story again, but this time me and Ian really just like make fun of him instead of trying to show sympathy or empathy,
like humans? Yeah,
like people. Just because it would be a funnier podcast bit.
What if we did the funny thing instead of the human thing? I mean,
know, right?
Let's try it. Yeah.
Right. But so it came up. I brought up, hey, depending on what state you're in, you could have been arrested and forced to register as a sex offender because that's the thing in California for public indecency. If you're so if you're caught, and what I mean specifically is if you're caught pissing in like the bushes, you can be registered for that.
Yeah, this is true.
Which I think is a little crazy, but I get it.
It's a deterrent, but I agree that public urination is super different than all the other things on that list. But yeah,
I think too, especially in cities where like you just can't piss.
San Francisco.
Yeah, San Francisco is really fucked. As someone who's walking around there, to the point where every time I found like a bathroom, I just went, all right, well, I'm just gonna use it to use it. Like, because I have no clue when the next one is.
Exactly.
Shout outs to Whole Foods.
Oh,
but, as shitty as that Whole Food was, shout out to the really cool security guard who looked like he was just kind of collecting a paycheck, and he was telling me all about how to get into the bathroom without buying shit. That dude, he will never listen to us in a year. If you remember that, you fucking rule, man. So, but that brought up but Nick said it wasn't against his will. He opened up the door to the bathroom. To which I say, okay, when you, I think this can go for everyone. Okay. Because like, it's a stall, right? I'm not even talking about urinals.
Okay.
But a stall or the door to a single bathroom.
Yes.
Do you open that door with knowing there's a risk that someone's on that other side? Or do you automatically assume no one's there if it's open? Because I'll tell you what, I open up restrooms really slowly. If I know it's a thing, if I know it's a single one, just to be like, hey, anyone? All right, that's cool. Then rip that shit open.
I'm the same. I do it slowly.
So Nick, that's interesting. You say that, and that goes in with your belief that there's a chance that everyone opens up a door or a stall, knowing that there could be another person taking a shit or a piss.
I think that's a reasonable assumption.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, conflict resolved.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
I'll be different, and I will say, like, I guess I don't think about it that hard as you two gentlemen. I just open the door like a person, and I'm like, oh.
But now that you have that in your head, right? Like,
what's that?
But now that you have that in your head, do you think like, oh yeah, there could always be someone on the other side?
This guy's jaking it.
I don't know if this is you know what? You know what, Nick? You bring up an excellent
Yeah.
point. Here's what I'm gonna say: is
Yeah.
I open the door with the understand there's a social grace that even if a man was standing fully nude in that restroom,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, sorry, I opened it. Oh, you should have. Okay, close the door.
Should have
You have 3
knocked.
seconds of social grace. You have 3
Yeah,
seconds of. Oh, sorry.
there was no knock. He just fucking flung it open as quick as possible because of course he did.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, okay. So that goes to the knock thing, right? Like, because I think you should always knock. I think when we're in the bathroom doing our business, we
Yes.
are at our weakest and most vulnerable and most primal.
This is
100%.
why
Next to,
cats
like,
come
80.
to us. Yes, 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 yes. Yes.
So I think the standard of our like composure and, and reasonability
Mm-hmm.
should be like, I think people should have a lower standard to that person, whoever's in the bathroom,
Okay.
because they're going through
Okay.
it.
Okay. Yeah, they
That's
are.
just
Uh-huh.
empathy.
They're really going through one of life's trials,
Yeah.
especially if it's in a public restroom. They
Yeah.
really are.
As
They
someone
really,
who
really
tries to avoid using public bathrooms as much as they can, even at work.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Not to the point where it's unhealthy, but I will try to time shit right.
Yeah. Exactly. I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's more about predicting than anything.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I know that I have to be near the good cafe with a clean bathroom. Exactly. That's the normal thing people do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If it's no. Have to predict. But so
Okay.
knocking, that's the common courtesy word. I'm just setting up the argument for the eventual law or for the eventual trial that'll happen because some dude ripped open the door without knocking, and you're there like taking a piss, and all of a
Right.
sudden you're on trial for indecent exposure. However, having said that,
Mm-hmm.
now that we've put the idea out there, there's for sure people, right, who are just waiting for someone to rip that door open.
Oh, you mean
Oh,
perverts?
yeah.
Yeah, there are
Yeah, I mean
perverts.
perverts.
Yeah, defo. There are defo
They're
perverts.
psychos, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you I don't know if we've ever talked about this. I'll make this quick because this is a wild ass opening.
Yeah, because I got another thing to get off my chest.
In San Fernando, I was at a gym in San Fernando Valley, working out in the morning, and for about 2 weeks in a row, there was a news piece that was like over the cardio area
Yeah.
of a flasher who was on the loose, and I was like, huh, that's not common. But then they played clips, and it's like, oh, he's not a flasher. This is like a dude hanging out nude, like just around on the park or on the trail.
Yeah.
They're perverts out there. They're here in your very backyard, unless they burned. But I'm so sorry.
All right. So that's enough stuff of that. I think we've dried the well. I have I have another thing today. I want to preface this story.
Yes.
One way, which is there is a point in this story where I realize I'm the mistaken one. I'm the one who made the wrong decision.
Okay.
And it is in turn everything bad that happens to me after that is my fault.
Okay.
Okay. So, Ian, I have a question for you.
Okay. Sure.
Story. When you're hanging out, right? No, it can't even just be a friend. It's gotta be someone closer. Let's say you're with your partner.
Sure.
Or with a family member.
Okay.
They are getting coffee, and they offer you, "Hey, Ian, you want a cup of coffee, or you want anything? My treat."
Okay.
What do you usually do?
If someone's making a cup of coffee, I will usually say yes. Give me. I will also have a cup of coffee. Yes.
Okay, in this case, I mean specifically, you're at like a cafe, you're at Starbucks, or you're at something.
Okay, gotcha.
Or how about like a cafe that, in particular, is really known for their coffee?
Okay.
Lattes.
Okay. Yeah, I in that situation will probably 3 out of 4 times I'll say, "Yeah, I'll have." And you wanna know what my order is specifically? Like,
I want to
I
know
actually
specifically, do you order the most expensive thing on the menu?
I do not. No.
Okay.
I
Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
is that just out of taste or is that a purposeful choice?
Well, my idea is if someone else is treating, you definitely should not have the more expensive thing as a rule, generally. Like,
I I couldn't agree more with you, Ian.
that's that's the thing. My taste, thankfully, even an expensive coffee I like is only
Yeah.
$7. So,
Which I would
I'm
still argue
usually
that that's like
Huh?
that's on the more expensive side for a coffee. However, unless you're getting a bunch of stuff in it, then that's around average in LA.
Yeah.
If you're not
Yes.
going to like fucking Starbucks or something,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
right? Still expensive for coffee, but I mean, like that's what it is around here.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, Ian, not to get
Okay.
the most expensive thing. I think that's just good manners.
I agree.
I
I
really
agree.
do. I don't want to take advantage of someone's kindness.
I agree. I agree. I agree.
So let's cut to
But I guess
Nick. Oh, good.
yes. I guess we were raised right. What about Nick?
I guess so. Let's cut to Nick.
Mhm.
We got coffee today. I wanted to show him a new coffee place.
Mhm.
I will not say the name because they ain't
Okay.
paying me. But if they will, hey,
Sure.
let's
Right.
just say it involves a moon and involves a little goat.
Oh, okay.
Get coffee. Hey Nick, check out this place. Right. We look at the menu. We're like, oh, I was asking questions about this particular drink.
Right.
Does it look crazy? And it was, but then I saw the price. I went, oh, I ain't getting that. I thought it was a bag of beans, but it wasn't. It was a small vial. It was a specialty roast they were gonna make. They'll do like a pour over, right? And as soon as I saw
Okay.
that, I went, I ain't buying that.
Right.
So I
Right.
just got the cold brew,
Mhm.
$5,
Mhm.
and I go, all right, Nick, whatever you want, get what you want.
Okay.
He orders that pour over. It's the most expensive thing on the menu. Now, Ian, do
How
you want to hazard
Okay.
a guess how much that pour over was?
It's the most expensive thing on the menu. Is it 4 times more than what you ordered?
I mean, that's just giving away the answer if I tell you whether or not it is.
I'm gonna guess that it's 3 times more expensive. I think it's about $15
You
for the
think it's about
pour over.
$15? Okay. Nick, would you like to tell Ian how much your pour over today was? That I so graciously bought you?
Oh my god. Okay.
It was $22.50.
Shut the fuck, fool. Was it good though? Was it good though?
I liked it. I think
You
it
liked
tasted
it?
like.
I fucking hope you liked it. How much?
Oh my god. I, I Oh
was,
my god.
was it $22.50 worth it?
Jesus Christ. This Okay, wait. I don't know if this is funny. You can cut this if this isn't
Yeah.
a funny follow-up question. Um,
Ain't
how
cutting
often
shit.
are you brothers going to a cafe? How often are you to, hey, let me get a coffee, you get a coffee, that kind of thing? Is there an exchange going
Ah.
on here?
There is for pretty much every like food wise, right? Food and drink.
Okay. Okay.
Which is like we'll treat. In fact, today that happened too because I was post lunch
Uh-huh.
coffee. I had bought Nick food earlier in the week, so he bought me food in return for lunch.
Okay.
I consider that an
Okay.
even exchange.
Okay, yeah.
Then I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna get coffee anyway. Do you want anything?" I thought it was gonna be cheap, so I was like, "No skin off my back."
Sure.
So I got a cold brew, $5. Bought one of their canned cold brews because I had always wanted to try it. $5,
Right.
gonna save that for a day. I haven't tried it yet.
Okay.
So I spent $10,
Okay.
which was
Well,
less than half
yeah.
of what
Yeah.
Nick got, which is
Now, it was just less than half. It was slightly Oh my goodness. And yeah. Okay.
so. So again, I preface this thing by saying I realize this is my fault
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
told him, "Hey, whatever you want."
Well, if
And what a
if you
fool!
meant
What a What a naive fool to be taken on a ride for his generosity.
Oh wow, yeah, you really got bilked there out of a
I
coffee.
got it.
Oh my god.
The lesson that has returned in my life
Mhm,
over and over again is to
mhm.
never do anything nice for anyone
I mean,
because it will become the worst case scenario.
you can't give these people a fucking inch. That's what we're saying. That's the podcast's official
Yeah.
opinion.
So now it's one I might never offer stuff again. I might just keep going on my own way.
Wow. Wow.
Or two, I am gonna have to be like in front of the register, just be like, whatever you want, Nick, as long as it's not like,
You, you have to,
as long as it's not above like a certain.
my order. You have to order anything cheaper than what I order.
Yeah.
I'm
No, not even cheaper than what I order, but definitely not 4 times more expensive.
sure. Sure.
Than the drink.
Well, with
Hey
your
man,
coffee,
I'll take a beer. $7, cool. I'll take a shot of your top shelf whiskey, $50. But
we're both going to enjoy this drink. Cheers. Clink.
you bet I tried it. You bet I tried that coffee, dude. I was not letting. Even if I had
And was
drank
it?
half of that coffee,
Yeah.
it still would have been more.
Was it good though?
Yeah.
How was the taste?
You know what? The nose was more interesting. It was a really like cool bouquet. It was very fruity. It was very like bright. Some like spice in there. It was pretty cool.
Okay.
Taste wise, it was really good. It was
Mhm.
very, again, more on the fruity side, not acidic at all. She did a
Mhm.
great job pouring that. That must have been all mostly technical. I mean, as I've learned making my own coffee.
Yeah.
With like Chemex and shit and doing pour overs, it's very much about technique and
Mhm.
ratio, right?
Right.
In order to not make it super acidic or too fucking like bitter.
Yeah, just like a snap on the. I get you. Yeah.
Yeah. I would not say 22. Now, granted, this was part of a promotion to help set the baristas learn or compete across like different states or whatever. Anyway, I paid $22.50 for.
It was for some dumb shit like cancer research or whatever. Like jerk off.
No. They were learning. They went to go compete for like
okay.
coffee competition or something. But as much as I feel the anger,
Mhm.
and I think righteously so, I must cut back and say, no, it was my fault.
Yeah.
I did say whatever you want.
I think we can all, and the listeners at home can have a teachable moment
I think
from
so.
your experience. Yeah.
Never offer anything ever. See. Or man, like if you do offer something, you got to be an asshole about it. You gotta put the limit on. You gotta.
Oh my god.
Nick, do you have anything to say?
You know,
Oh yeah.
I will say,
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I bet you did.
See, Nick, I wouldn't have even dignified that with a response. I would have given him stony silence.
Because okay, the only thing was like I did ask him, "Is it okay if I get this?" Because I looked at him and asked.
To which again I do concede and say that was my fault because I should have looked at what he was.
You're gonna tell that whole story without that part?
No, okay. Wow. So Ian, there were 2 things on the menu. I thought he was taking the watermelon. There was a snake that was very much his style.
Okay.
And it was the cheaper one.
Okay.
But like it was a $15 pour. To which having done like a bunch of coffee places, a crazy expensive pour over is 15, and I was like, that's that's reasonable. I think.
Okay.
That's like the crazy shit. That's the shit again that he had, which was in vials stuff.
Yeah.
And they're still like green. They're still green bean. Like they're not fully roasted.
Right.
I should have looked closer. I thought he was being reasonable.
Well,
Silly me. Silly
Well,
me.
you know, if we get an ad read from them, we can get all the expensive, overpriced LA coffee we want.
That is
So.
true. So hey, Moon Goat, if you're out there, yo, your coffee is good. I just don't want to be tricked into buying the most expensive.
I'm sorry.
Their coffee's really good. The cold brew's good. Their pour overs have all been great that I've tried. I especially like, hey, if it's hot because it's California, their espresso and tonic is real good shit. And that's all I'll say so far. I won't name brands. You have to pay me for that. So
hit us up. Give us money.
what's up? Give us money. I'm still working on the Baja Blast thing. It's gonna happen. One day it's gonna happen. And it's gonna blow everyone's fucking minds. That I'm gonna do like a crazy supercut. I'm gonna go through all old footage and try to find every time we mention trying to get sponsored by Baja Blast.
Can we have you jump through a paper banner dressed as a Baja Blast can, possibly?
Oh yeah, I have that costume. Yeah.
And then we can do Edward 40 hands while you're in the thing. And you
Oh
burst
hell
into,
yeah, dude! Hell yeah!
I think that's
Just
really gonna make it. Yeah.
fucking die from diabetic shock or something. What a way to go. Anyway,
man.
let's start the podcast. We've already.
All right.
This is the longest cold open I think we've done in a while.
Hey everyone! If you wanted more of our talking and banter, there you go. If not, you've skipped this part to the meat of the show.
I just want to hear them talk about Mickey 17, which is the movie we're going to be discussing today. Bong Joon-ho film, director we all love and we've talked about, but we've never done like a full thing on a movie.
Yeah.
I'm sure if we go back in Storyteller Cast, there we talked about Parasite, but I don't know if we did a full spoiler thing.
And I feel like early on if we didn't do an episode dedicated to it, we definitely at some point on the record talked about Host.
Yeah, I probably mentioned it because it is one of my favorite movies of all time.
It's very good. It's a very good movie. Yeah.
I love that movie. If it's not one of my favorites, it's definitely one of the most influential. It changed my. I watched it very young, and it changed my mind about how you could do movies.
Yeah,
it's one of those. Yeah. It's in that category for me.
Yeah.
But let's get started. We all saw Mickey 17.
We did.
What did you all know before going in as we get into the rising end? Nick, would you like to start?
Sure. So I think quickly, the only thing I knew about going in was the director, Bong Joon-ho, the main actor, Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
And thirdly, that it is an adaptation of the book Mickey 7.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he is, yeah. Well, I was saying he was very specific about calling it an adaptation versus a remake or a retelling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That is true. He did make that a point.
Yeah.
That's more or less all I knew too, man. Including that like interview he did with Stephen Colbert before the movie, and you see the plushie of the little monster, creature, very much modeled after water bears, which is a cool reference as someone who used to do biology stuff, because water bears can survive space, and that's pretty fucking wild. Also, water bear. I don't know if they still are, but I knew for a while they were studying water bears to be like, how could we make astronauts last longer in space?
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, that's more or less all I knew. Ian, what did you along with Nick? Ian, what did you know?
I think the only other thing that I really knew was I had seen Toni Collette and Steven Yeun do press for it a little bit. So
I didn't even know that.
I knew that they were going to be in it, and I love both those actors and Mark Ruffalo. So really, other than having looked up the cast, same here. That's about all I really knew coming into it. I hadn't read Mickey 7, so yeah.
Nice. Let's see. Trying to see. That is up to date. March 24th. It did okay in the actually no, it didn't do okay in the US. It made 40.4 million in the U.S. and
Mhm.
Canada, and 69.8 in other territories. So worldwide, 110. This is as of March 24th, according to Wikipedia.
Mhm.
But they've usually been good about the numbers. With a combined 198 million spent on production and marketing.
Yeah.
So they need to make a lot. However, I did hear this that apparently it's been doing. It just premiered. Oh no, it premiered early in Korea,
Mhm.
and apparently that's been doing really well.
Nice.
Although we'll
I'm glad to
see.
hear that.
I just hope they keep letting him do that new horror movie that he's working on. Because he
Yeah.
just got John Carpenter to agree to do the music.
I had read that as well. John Carpenter agreed to do a score for his movie. I'm so excited to see that come together. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm stoked. Yeah, okay, so nothing else I knew about the movie before other than The Host is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yes.
And Parasite was like a movie of the year contender for that year.
Mhm.
I have to double check. It might have been my movie of the year, but I'm not sure. I would just have to double check the year. Anyway, let's get into the climax, which is the actual movie.
Mhm.
So I think one of the bigger things you really notice is, oh yeah, this is an adaptation of a book.
Yes.
There's so many big. It ends in sci-fi story. So many big concepts that you have to just quickly wrap your head around or get into. And if you're already familiar with sci-fi, then a lot of this stuff actually isn't that like far out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's all ideas you've explored before. Cloning, space travel, climate change getting to the point where humans are leaving the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And just how with the introduction of certain technology like cloning, life becomes less precious, even in an environment where, even in environments such as like space travel, life is like of the utmost importance, or life preservation.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of those big ideas, and I think this movie kind of does a really good job, just kind of quickly introducing you that, and you kind of see the consequence, like the gravity of that notion, right? So you get the montage of all the Mickeys dying, or not even before that, you get people when he signs up for the program just to for sure get in.
Yeah.
Everyone going like, you want to do that, man? You
Yes.
you read the thing.
He's asked several times if he had actually read through what he's signing up to do. Yeah.
And then, oh man, I mean, that scientist lady was just so pretty. I couldn't read or sit or pay attention. It's super funny. Yeah. Then they get on the spaceship and you get they're just murdering him, and it's kind of an interesting. It's human experimentation to further like advanced technology.
Yeah.
And medical science, and it works. I mean, of course, it works, but it is the thing of like, you'll keep uploading your conscious to that until we get to the main, conflict in the movie, which is, oh no, there's two because they already made one because they assumed one of them died.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, go ahead.
It's the central conflict that's kind of at the heart of a lot of the movie is who has an authentic humanity. I think like it's or like there's lots of religious undertones in this movie about what is the nature of a soul between two mentally and physically identical people as well. Well,
clone.
And then are they identical?
Well, so this is crazy because like this is funny. because there's moments in this movie that happen, and like Nick looked at me because I would always do these ever since I call like fucking ever since the inception of us doing a podcast was
Yes.
super based on me asking questions like, "Hey, a clone appears of you. What do you do?" And then I'm of the Dan O'Brien camp. I don't know if he still believes in this, but he's have an article on Crack. Danny O'Brien, which is you either have to kill them or fuck them.
Why is it those two choices? I mean,
Always
this movie
those
does
two.
address that.
They have to die, or you have to fuck them.
You don't have a choice.
You don't have a choice.
You do.
They will be. And for those who are apprehensive to it, one, it's not masturbation. That's wrong. That's self-love.
Yes, it's
different.
completely different.
This is when a clone is formed, and this is the benefit of us doing years of these kinds of talks.
Mm-hmm.
When a clone is made, they are experiencing life differently from you.
Yes, and I think it was interesting that at least for Mickey 18, he's so clearly a different person. His affect, his output, his outlook, everything. He is a different person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's other parts of this movie that made me. There's many moments in this movie where there's, like you were saying, so many great ideas that you're just like, oh, you could explore that even deeper. Probably
which I bet the book does.
Which I'm sure the book does. Yeah,
there are a century, like maybe centuries now of. No, that's probably too much. Past the into 1700s, I don't know. When the fuck was Jules Verne? Anyway, there are at least over a century of these sci-fi ideas you can fully explore, even outside the book. Yeah, cloning is not a new idea. For shit, we've even done it. You can go clone your dog if you want, like that one singer.
That's true.
I forget her name.
Was it the Scottish lady?
I think so. It was the one with
Susan
the dog,
Boyle?
right? You know what I'm talking about?
I think I do.
She keeps cloning her dog.
Never has to let go. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go. You can look up Dolly the sheep, all that stuff. But the idea is that, like, the argument is, clone is made. They are different now. They're experiencing life differently from you. Even just the idea that you two are standing side by side, you now have two different viewpoints of the world.
Yeah, literally.
Right. It's my thing. And on top of that, they add that extra layer here, which is every Mickey seemed to have a different personality just because of the way the memories work. Or we're a little bit more leaning towards this way, maybe this way. More angry, less angry, more horny, more like all this stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
Which again just dissolves the lie, which is you're coming back the same. No, you're not. Each Mickey's a different person.
Yeah.
Right, which will be further explored. Now let's get back to the sex thing. Listen, it's not. It's a different person. It can be consensual as long as you have that conversation with the other clone.
Sure.
And you two know exactly what each other needs.
I think also the movie introduces so many interesting things as far as maybe your clones don't all like to do drugs. Some of your clones do. Some of your clones are straight edge.
That's true, Ian. Also, you could give yourself the perfect kind of hug. Just the right amount of pressure. Not too much. Not too long.
Mm-hmm.
Too short. The exact amount of warmth that you need, that you want.
Same height. None of that height discrepancy issue. Yeah.
No, same amount of strength. You want to feel safe, and you know it's you.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you haven't agreed to kill each other, you can feel safe.
We promise.
As we fall to the other side, I love this conversation. So I know y'all are trying to avoid it, but I love this idea so much. You may have to kill your clone. You may have to watch yourself die a representation of, or something as close to killing a mirror of yourself.
That's probably a huge, as fun as having sex with yourself might be, that's as terrifying as strength, like not killing
Yeah.
yourself in like a conventional, like in this movie we did not have.
No, it's to kill an idol of you, a manifestation of you.
Yeah, that's great. That's terrible. That's
You
intense.
watch your eyes give out. You watch the life leave. And you have to do it because there could only be one of you, really.
Now, why again? I mean, the movie
Why?
definitely
What would
seems
the?
to
How
have
would
that
the
opinion.
clone live a life? The
What do you
clone
mean, the
has to
clone-
go start a completely new life. Even holy shit, that was loud. I don't know if that picked up on my
Oh no.
fucking motorcycle. Just decided to rev up in front of my
Ooh.
window. Scared the shit of me. Anyway, here's why you have to kill your clone.
Mhm.
Only one person can live that life.
Okay.
Only one. There can only be one in the family. There can only be one. Because what? You're gonna share them all? How?
Well,
How's
for,
that a thing?
for that dude, one, he had another girl who was interested in him, if that's the case, and he didn't have any family, so that's at least for him is resolved. But I don't know.
Well,
And
luckily, the love interest was into a little throuple going on,
yes,
little bit of that.
sure.
But see, you see the problems presented in that movie because the moment one of them wants to break away and like I can maybe find love elsewhere, because not everybody wants to be in a polygamous
A throuple. Yeah,
throuple.
it's not for everybody.
It's not for everyone. It's not. You're not about that life.
Yeah.
But then one of them gets real jealous because they're watching,
Mm-hmm.
their loved one, a representation of their loved one, maybe fall in love with someone else,
Yeah.
and that will break your family because they know it's now possible. It's possible that even if they have one, that person can definitely learn to break
Mm-hmm.
off and to love
Yeah.
differently. The easiest thing to do is to murder your clone.
Why are you so pro clone? No,
Nick, where do you fall in this discussion before we continue Mickey 17? I love this shit. I don't know.
I mean, look, man. I know
Nick was
the
trying to
go-to
avoid
is
this
murder.
like the entire time.
Well, it's because no, I was gonna say something. It was gonna be like a peak of hubris.
Oh,
he's a
More
clone
like
fucker. He can't
narcissism.
wait. He can't
hey
wait.
man, both choices are right the way I see him.
No, no.
It's because like in early in my writing days, one of the first things I was trying to write was a story revolving around clones.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But the concept is that the clones live past their primes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they do have their own experiences because I also came to the conclusion that they're their own person.
Yeah.
And they'll just live a life that'll just go against. They might have like tendencies and habits to jump to similar conclusions of things, but that's as far
Much
as it
like
goes.
twins.
Yeah. But even then, they still have their own interpretations. Because I think Infinity Train did it pretty cool, where it's like the mirror the mirror cart, and then like
Oh yeah.
yeah. So I feel like that's where I'm kind of with it, where they just end up becoming their own thing. But to kill them, I don't know, man. Like,
Why not?
why do you want to kill it, Chris? Why do you want to kill your clone?
Yeah. Why?
Complicated.
You want to take your anger out? Just
Oh man,
abs-
hey, the ultimate. See, I was gonna suggest that too, but I don't know enough psychology to like fully explore this idea. But it would be the ultimate form of ego death.
Or it's the conquering of the self. I am in complete control now.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is me. I am me. There is only me.
I think the more boring thing is like it's gonna end up like when Bender made copies of himself with the 3D printer, and he'll just like you'll just have everyone doing things for you.
Yeah, but that
Yeah.
works. I think. Yeah, because that works. knowing, or like just you're a clone, you will do my bidding, right? You put them on under yourself, which will. But that, I mean, as that episode of Futurama, that does lead to rebellion.
Yeah.
No matter what, Invincible has that idea, right? Like, where the only way this works is if neither of us knows who's the original.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it ends in murder.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting. Anyway, back to the thing. Anyway, this is all to say that joke where one, I love the way the camera shot, or that the reveal of there's two of them now happens, and then just immediately jump to I have to kill you now.
Yeah.
Really was funny, and I felt like I had been seen, I had been heard, and I had been well represented in a giant sci-fi flick.
Okay.
I'm gonna circle back to this question. I'm gonna ask you guys what you would do, but
Okay.
Okay. So more of the movie. We get
Yeah.
introduced these creatures. That's how he's able to survive. They're not at all inherently
Aggressive
evil
at all.
at
Yeah.
all. They're very
Right.
they're shit. We don't even know if they're the only species on that planet, but they're obviously like the dominant one of that like continent or that area, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Um, they're cool designs. They're based off water bears, all that, but it does lead to the conflict because some of the kids are caught and left in the ship,
Yes.
and that will eventually lead to we don't know what these aliens are now. We must kill the babies. Kill baby
And-
one, and then we shall murder baby two.
And Tony Collette's weird running bit of like being really into sauce
Yeah,
and wanting to turn the aliens into a form of sauce for the men.
I'm gonna. Oh man, I don't know how I want to word this other than being like, one, it's a shitty. She's a shitty cook. We know that.
Yeah.
That's her thing. Even though she thinks she's an artist,
Mhm.
but she's just putting shit into a blender and it's a sauce now. It's
Yeah.
one of those. You know what it reminds me of, man? It reminds me of when I was cooking, when I first learned to cook, right?
Mhm.
And I just learned what was super easy, and it was pasta.
Yes.
As one that, like, as the oldest of siblings, that was easy to cook for everyone. It would fill everyone up, right? And it was real fucking easy. I wouldn't even make my own stuff. I would just box pasta, fucking canned, mix it.
Mhm.
You're all good, right? And to this day, I have a soft spot for that shit. Just of like, I need a shitty meal real quick.
A comfort. It's a comfort dish. I get it.
It really
Yeah.
is. It really is.
Yeah.
As a kid, doing that, I felt like a fucking master chef.
Mm-hmm.
Learning how to boil water, to use the stove, use pots, man. And then any just variation. Ooh, add a little spice. Fuck, dude, what are we doing? We're 5-starring this shit. It's gonna be. I mean, now as I cook more and more stuff, and I wouldn't even argue that because it's complicated and really hard to make, that even makes you a good chef. It really just does come down to flavor at the end of the day, right? And how you can present it to your friends and loved ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
She reminds me of me as like just specifically in the sauce thing of like, oh shit, I can do this. Boom. Oh man, I'm a fucking.
I'm genius.
I'm fucking killing it on the cooking side.
Right.
She's a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
She is in the early stages of cooking, and she thinks she's an artist. It's part of the hubris of both of that couple, right?
Well, I guess that describes both of them ultimately, is that they think they're way more capable than they're anywhere near capable of.
Absolutely, 100%.
They have an entirely imagined. Okay, I'm going to talk about just acting in general for a minute and just get your guys' take. But one thing I was thinking while I was watching this is they're not going. Bong Joon-ho is not going for naturalism in this movie.
No, in fact, I was talking about that with Nick too, like right after your thing.
These performances are like really heightened. I mean, they're
To the
heightened
point where
more
some of them
so.
are cartoon characters.
Yes. And I mean, like they dial in scene to scene how crazy it can be. Like sometimes they're more grounded, like in the first prison scene, and sometimes they're
Yeah.
Looney Toony.
Sometimes you get that dude in the pigeon suit doing the
For no explanation, he's just a
doing,
dude in a pigeon suit. Yeah.
and well, to me it's that's the one way he was able to get on the ship. He's whoring
Oh,
himself out. Because
that makes
it's the
sense.
dude from Who's the Fanboy
Oh,
for
so
window
he's
recruiting,
okay.
and he's like,
I'll
I'll
do
do whatever
anything.
to get on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's him.
Okay. That checks
uh
out.
yeah, but then you get the thing, you get him doing the poses to the guys fucking to haul the rock,
Yeah.
and that shit fucking got me. That's just cartoon. The
That's
way the
great.
profile works is super clean. It's great. It's great.
Yep. Yep.
Fucking great.
Yes.
But sorry, more along this because I'm
well,
with you on this. Yeah.
just to say that I think that it works really well. Like I haven't seen a movie like this in a while where
Same.
people aren't worried about, oh, is this grounded enough? Is this real, relatable enough? Like it's a movie that isn't worried about being a movie.
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing that made me think of like I hope this is a well received comparison, but it reminded me of like really good Spielberg, where
Okay.
I'm not worried about this being realistic. We're doing a scene,
Yeah.
and Mickey 17 is kind of through this entire movie driven by one flavor, and all of these characters are very arch, so that we can throw a lot of really heavy ideas at you. Mickey 17 is the little pussy that he gets called over and over again, and Mickey 18 is a jerk, like he is called over and over again. And the
he's this they're the SpongeBob meme of now I'm a jerk and everybody loves me.
Yes, exactly. Mark Ruffalo. I do want to say this because I just, especially after the scene where we see Mickey sign up for the expendable job. I don't think Mark Ruffalo is just doing a Trump impression. He's bringing more than
Nick and I were talking about that. Okay, good. Yeah, I want to hear your take. Go ahead.
I think he's bringing more than that. Like there's Trump in there.
There's a lot of
but
Trump in there.
There's a lot, but he's a populist. Like he's doing other stuff that is just like the scene with the big rock struck me more televangelist specifically.
Yeah, that the whole thing that he has a show is very televangelist. I agree with that.
And then the him having like a late night talk show that's on in the background also feels very like I don't know. It's almost I can't think of the reference right now, but it's a weird ego thing of people think I'm funny and moving and religious and sexy, and a great performance of a real creep, a real weird, nasty veneer creep. But what do you guys think? What were you guys thinking about that?
So actually, that's what I was going to get into, how I think we should break down this movie, because there's a lot of scenes, but I was thinking we can just do characters for a little bit too. So while we're on this guy, so the televangelist thing, 100% agree. In fact, there's always cameras roaming around. There's the guy is part of the church. We don't know which church, but it's the church.
Yeah,
is what they say. That's always like, what's the best way we can shoot this? He's a producer. He's trying to just get how can we make you seem real fucking the hero, right?
Yeah.
How can we control the history narrative?
Yeah,
going forward, and it's that dream. He accomplishes what all these kinds of people want to do, which is we've made the group smaller, and it's all people who just worship me. They worship
or have no
ground
choice. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would argue I'm with you that I don't think it's full Trump. There's a lot of it in there. Because there's moments where he's still like questioning things. I think it's like he's trying to figure out what the best shot is, what the best course. without killing it. As we find out, it's because, of course, the fear of death is
Yeah.
the motivating reason for everything he does.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
it's going to end soon.
Yeah.
The Earth it's either going to end on Earth, it's either going to end with the Earth ending, it's either going to end with just his natural death. Right?
Yeah.
That image has to live on because that'll be his way of living on.
Yeah.
And like finding just a place to settle. No, I agree with that. I agree with the televangelist angle quite a bit. Just always looking for everything.
Yeah.
Every particular shot. I think the devil thing was really funny. Particularly in Mark Ruffalo's like a choice of just doing it real slowly, like he's not even sure if he's gonna throw up the horns.
Yeah.
That was really funny. Nick, what do you think? Mark Ruffalo's portrayal here.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about before of like, yeah, it seems like even though right now the most relevant reference would be Trump, it is like he's embodying pretty much that archetype, and like you described, like someone who just is fueled by acceptance and nothing
Yeah.
else,
Yeah.
which is yeah,
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
which will escalate to a form of fascism, and it's like,
Yeah.
Oh, it's full. Yeah, it's still there right now.
Mhm.
For that story, it reminds me a lot of the Glass Onion and what's his name, the
Ed Norton's character.
Ed Norton's character. Yeah, the rich guy.
Yeah.
Specifically, it reminds me of people were like obviously making the comparisons to Elon Musk, which are certainly there, and how like right a lot of things were coming out of that movie, even though he wrote that script like a while beforehand.
Yes.
And I wish I remember who posted it, but it was someone on Twitter had posted a real good point, which is, listen, he didn't like predict anything. He just figured where the natural points are going to be because he's a writer and he understands people. And because he can understand this kind of person, you can write out the natural conclusion, which is it's just some fucking dude who has nothing going on for him except money.
Yep.
Just wanting to be liked and to be cool and surrounding himself with cool people.
And kind of taking every social situation as an investment of some kind. Yes. Like it's a monetary and a social one at the same time.
Yeah, every human interaction is a transaction.
Yeah.
Of some sort. Yeah, so let's talk about Mickey then. Since we already talked about the wife for a bit. Where were you all at with Mickey 17 and 18?
Nick?
I loved it. I absolutely love, like, I think this, if you ask me, I think this is Robert Pattinson at his best when he gets like really out there personalities just going back and forth.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like Daniel Radcliffe and Akimbo, Guns Akimbo, where it's like you just need to give him like the most absurd role, and it's him trying to reason with it. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's God, yeah. I loved it so much. I that, and like the way Patterson's like Mickey's like essentially, yeah, he's this character who's the guinea pig, but then it's also like him trying to just trying to find some decency through it all, and it's kind of crazy just how he's ragdoll through everything.
Yeah, his character, I think, is way more explored. It's got to be more explored in the book, right?
Yeah.
But like the little you get, very much is like bad thing happened as child. That was my fault. It's the thing you think of as a child, right? Like his mom dies, he pressed some button on a car. Even though we find out later people gave you the explanation why your mother died for it, and it was because that car was shit. Like it was defected.
Yeah.
It was the manufacturer's fault. Right. That your mom died. But it's the full on like I tied some small action I did to it. It kept rolling in life. I blame everything bad happening to me is what I deserve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Little form of narcissism there too, but like,
Mhm.
so
I,
G just lets things happen to him, right?
yeah. Yeah.
But it's to the point where even because a lot of what will happen to those people too, at least is you guys can hop in on this too. I feel this is just from what I've noticed is you start forming this group of people who are on your side. They like you. They will stand up for you against others. However, if you're still stuck in that trap that everything I do is wrong and bad, like, and you're kind of becoming the same way Mickey is, no matter the system you have, it's not gonna stop the bad. It's not gonna stop your own like ineptitude or inaction.
You well, he's got to be able to take responsibility for his actual actions and
Yeah.
not take responsibility. I think that that's another thing in this movie that it's done really cleverly by the writer is
Mhm.
that to a large extent, I think Mickey represents quite a lot of people who
Yeah.
I'm thinking of lots of the things that Bong Joon-ho has talked about in this film and in his other movies, where it's like those people who are really militant about recycling and not creating waste, and
Mhm.
like the videos of the simple lifers who are like, this is
Oh
all
yeah.
the trash I've made in the last 4 years, it fits in this mason jar or something like that. Like the degree of
Yeah.
shame and guilt that I think some of these people are feeling is wrong and disproportionate, because it's the corporations that are responsible for this. And this
Yeah.
movie is more or less of the opinion that the church, corporation slash government, which is all rolled into kind of one incestuous thing in
Mhm.
this world, uh, that's where you should be aiming some of this blame. But you've internalized the responsibility of this. So that's kind of where I'm taking that part of his character. I think we do have a certain degree of these big entities that fuck things up and then expect us as individuals to take responsibility for
Yeah.
that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And going to which leads into Mickey 18, like having the anger thing of it's not you. You get that
Mm-hmm.
great moment where he's like, I I'm angry at you. I know that for sure for just how you letting it happen.
Yeah.
But I know whose fault this actually is, and it's the televangelist. It's the Kennedy.
Yes.
Of course,
Yeah.
he goes with the thing of him being all like kind of id, um,
Yeah.
is or just being super aggro. Just goes
Yeah.
for I gotta murder, I gotta assassinate, not realizing that of course that would actually probably martyr the guy
Yes.
on TV, which is why
Yeah.
when he dies, like out in the fields and there's no cameras or anything, that's way better
Yes. Yeah.
because it's not a whole production or how to do. Like
Right.
there's no legacy from here on out.
There's no mythologizing this,
Yeah,
right? Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. Which will lead into so how do we feel about Mickey 18 then? What do you think?
Uh,
It's the Mickey
it's
that
so weird.
fucks.
He fucks good,
Well, they
apparently.
both fuck. That's the thing. One likes to plan out things and make little diagrams that are really funny.
Mhm.
Which Nick, hey, you animate. What do you view that software that they're using? Where they're drawing stick
Uh,
figures and it just animates.
no, it's great. I mean, like, what you know what, like, it's probably trying to emulate something like Flip a Clip, like back in the
Okay.
day, where like you
Mm.
do the stick figures and then like that was like the old one for Flash, like
Yeah.
for stick rigging and everything. But it seems like, I mean, the actual software is like a VFX, obviously,
Yeah,
but
definitely. It was done in post or something.
that's cool. Like, it's really funny, like just
Yeah.
the diagram and everything, and how it actually ends up being really super important at the end. It's just a Bong
Mhm.
Joon-ho thing,
Yeah, that's just
Mhm.
the
like
Bong Joon-ho, yeah, thing of like
where the dumb
the
joke becomes super important.
yeah. But isn't that human, man?
Yeah,
Isn't
that's
that
what he's best
human
at.
where
Yeah,
the dumb innocuous thing you and a bunch of friends did or like what? Like stick.
yeah.
Anyway,
No,
Fucking
you're right.
stick figures.
I mean what I'm getting at with that is that that's like one of my favorite things about that director. He's so fucking good at is that through
Yeah.
that ridiculous the absurdity, the comedy. He's so good at just pinpointing the human aspects too.
Yeah.
Like he's really good at taking extremes and pointing out the very human aspect of it. Like what makes that so viable, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But anyway, back to Mickey 18. How we all feel? Where'd you all coming down on that?
I definitely think that his arc in the movie is amazing. I really
Hell yeah.
liked it, and I'll talk more about his ending, the ending of his story, a little bit later, and what we got out of it. But
yeah,
like as you look back, you suddenly realize, as you kind of alluded to, Chris, like Mickey 18 is in a sense a reaction to the last one. He's like, oh, this is this is unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
We've been treated like actual trash for so long. Like he seems like a natural response to the abuse that Mickey has taken on. So I don't know, and I just love the way that Pattinson is playing him so physically different. His posture is different, his jawline sets differently. He's he's
the
erect
physicality of
and
that.
confident.
Yeah, the physicality of the portrayal, like the way he carries himself, is all different.
Yeah,
between each. The way the weird Boston accent is done, is different, or not even Boston. It's like New England. But
I love the voice that he chose for this. It's great.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's very good. Yeah. No, so I love that whole arc too. I'm with you on that. I think he's the highlight. They're both. Robert Pattinson's the highlight of the acting in this movie. Bar none. Like, what a good choice. What a good performance.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Okay, so let's talk about side characters just because I'm looking at the time. And any more scenes we want to talk about? Because there's 2 scenes I want to talk about. Sure.
Can I just throw out?
Yes.
I'll just throw out. This is, I think, the least, including Sorry to Bother You. This is the least likely. This is the least likable version of Steven Yeun I've ever watched. I think.
Oh, this version. This one's the least likable. Wait, you don't like Steven Yeun in Sorry to Bother You?
Well, you're supposed to be empathizing with who's the main, what's the main character's name? I can't remember the main character's name exactly.
It's not Ern, that's Atlanta. Hang on.
That's fuck, you're right.
Yeah.
Sorry to
bother you.
I think it's Cassius
Green.
It's
Cassius Green, yeah, because they're all like puns.
Yeah.
I forgot Tessa Thompson's character is just called Detroit. Cassius Green, is Lakeith Stanfield's character. Steven Yeun's character is Squeeze.
Squeeze is like, well, Squeeze is ultimately just a victim of circumstance, but you're supposed to be relating to Cash, and he's the other suitor. But Steven Yeun is emo. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
He's just such an asshole of this movie.
In this one, yes, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I could argue with you that I think Steven Yeun's character Squeeze is the actual like person you should be emulating for unionizing.
Oh yeah, everything. Definitely.
Whereas Cassius Green and especially Tessa Thompson's character are deeply, deeply flawed. In their sense of righteousness, and that's a whole. I can talk about that movie forever. That's a different podcast.
Yeah.
I agree with you though. Yeah, well, yeah, it's supposed to be the most deplorable. The whole thing with the camera, having to chop up his body. It's fine. He'll reincarnate.
Yeah.
It reminds me too of a fucking the joke of there's one of his guys is on here, the collector, the debt collector. Reminds me of fucking Idiocracy, which is
in what way?
There's a running gag in Idiocracy that what's her name? Is it Maya or Maya Angelou? No, the leading lady in Idiocracy. She goes to the future.
Maya Rudolph.
Maya Rudolph. My bad. Maya Angelou. She goes to the future to avoid debt from the pimp she was working for.
Oh yeah.
And the after credit gag for that movie is the pimp also went all the way to the future to collect his money
I
from
forgot about that.
Maruto.
I forgot about that.
It's
Shit.
my favorite. It's one of my favorite gags in that movie. He gets a theme song too and everything for only 5 seconds. Um, yeah, it reminds me of that. But yeah, this is the least likable Stephen Young character. How do we feel about the love interests? Oh my god, I had the list of actors here.
It's played
Nasha
by
Barrage.
Naomi Aki.
Yeah, portrayed by Naomi Aki.
Natasha Barrage.
Yeah.
Nick, any thoughts about her acting? I have some idea. I have some thoughts about the character Natasha. But what are you thinking?
It's just Nasha, but it's yeah.
Yeah, Nasha. Yeah, Nasha's cool. Like I actually really liked her arc because like it was like she was an authority, and
she wanted that 3-way.
She wanted that 3-way. She got that freaked off, but it seems like I don't know. Like I don't know. I think whole arc wise, like I think it was pretty interesting. Like I do agree with Chris. Like I think a lot of these arcs are definitely more explored or probably have like a more interesting take in the book, like more insight.
Yeah.
Because it seems like there's a lot set up for like personality wise with Nasha.
Yeah.
And how
There's
much
a lot
she
going
like
on.
Yeah, both compliments Mickey but also sort of highlights the power dynamics that be. And
yeah, where Mickey's kind of lucky that Nasha is inherently a good person. Because that could totally be Mickey is right for being like being in an abusive relationship. He's the perfect target.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately,
I get what you mean. Yeah.
He is got real lucky with Nasha. Go ahead. Which Nasha isn't perfect either, but like she is like at her core a good person.
She is. I feel that like Nasha is kind of what Mickey 18 ended up imparting to 17 is kind of what he was getting out of Nasha's relationship in a sense. It was someone who thinks that you're worth something and stands up and says, "What are you doing? Treat him like a person." Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, only other characters I want to mention before we talk about the two scenes, just because I'm looking at time.
Okay, I'll just say I really liked that Nasha. Also, I wanted to mention the movie introduces the idea of a deal of Timo being a oxy dealer on the ship, and that these folks are doing drugs. It covered drug use in a really great way that I don't see in a lot of movies where by the time that plot line is introduced, you're just like, well, of course you want to do drugs.
Yeah.
This is a nightmarish world.
This shit sucks. Yeah. Anything.
Yeah.
She has that you have that one Scottish character who has the T.
Yes.
That's her escape.
I really liked that character. Her name, the character's name is Kai Katz, who lost her lover and then kind of flirts with Mickey. I thought that was interesting. That would have been cool to. I bet the novel again.
I bet the book has it. Yeah,
because it kind of picks up an interesting idea. That's one of the interesting ideas the movie plays with in the middle with sex, consent, being a monogamist or non-monogamist. Like it kind of circles those ideas and then it has to move on to get in with the geopolitical stuff.
Gives a really good reason why you should kill your clone, because if they go in and form a new family, it could destroy your current family because they know they could that you have the ability to leave.
I guess so, but that's a different.
That's what I stand by.
Okay. All right. But what that was all I really wanted to talk about. Unless Nick, you have any other points before we get into it?
No. I mean, like again, like I do. It's interesting because this is an adaptation, so it's like there's so much I think, kind of not left on the table, but definitely like things that probably have more insight.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of threads.
There's a lot of these, threads, branches that you can go off and like explore and come back to the central like tree. But like, yeah, they're all just kind of shown a little bit, and there's
Yeah.
enough. It's enough. It's such a weird balance, like that they're pulling up, balancing act they're pulling off, because there's just enough that you're kind of satisfied with it, but
Yeah.
like you still want more, right? You don't
And
feel
you're
unsatisfied by the end of the movie, for sure.
true. Yeah.
Because the main central thing is, it also helps the movie feel like it's going real quick, like because
Yeah.
shit's always happening and changing.
Yes.
Yeah. And speaking of shit's always happening, let's talk about the two scenes, because there's Bong Joon-ho is known for having really amazing chaotic scenes in movies. I'm thinking of The Host. One of my favorite scenes of all time in any movie is just a funeral scene, which may be one of his least chaotic chaos scenes, but it's all more about like what's happening in the foreground versus what's happening in the background.
Yeah.
Of that, I fucking love that scene so much. I can talk about that scene forever. Parasite, of course, is the um, coming home from the near being caught at the rich family's house.
Yeah.
And just that to emphasize like one of the many aspects of being in the working class and poor is like there's never a break, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's always some, like she's literally sitting on a toilet as shit and sewage is shooting out.
Yep.
Oh, I love that.
And trying to light a cigarette because she needs that fucking cig, dude.
Yeah.
Oh man,
it seems so
Hell
good. Yeah. This has two, which is the assassination of the town.
Beautiful.
Really great.
Beautiful
Oh my god,
stuff.
the choreography and all that like must have been crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What an amazing just using the suits, getting in the suits, getting out, characters yelling and like very specific character things coming up. And yet you're still like you understand the motivation with each character for every choice they make.
Mm-hmm.
Even when the assassination attempt has failed.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking great. And then the second one being just the release of the baby to kill the first lady, right? Or not to kill her, to capture.
Yeah.
All that. Which I love that whole acting thing of the general like standing behind going, "Stop. Don't do it." Whatever you're going and just grabbing the rope and you know exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, fuck, dude, so funny.
How
do you guys feel about those scenes?
I was definitely particularly struck by the bottleneck shots in that, where the people are like rushing to get out and flinging themselves through the doorway, and it's so funny for a moment when the door closes on the pigeon man. I was like, oh, so he died? Is that how his spine was snapped in half by a door? But that it's not. It is too. This movie is a little too heightened to do something like that. It's just it's just, he's fine.
Just the pigeon suit protected.
Exactly. What are you thinking about, Nick, with those two scenes? Let me kind of get my thoughts together here.
No, I mean, like I love the setup of everything. Like I love the setup of them extracting the material, him presenting it, and then it's like the natural force like interrupting everything. And it kind of reminded me of like Miyazaki, like early Miyazaki, who would do that, like with like Nausicaa and Mononoke especially.
Oh yeah.
Oh okay,
where like they have the corporation or they have the government steal a shrine or steal something with from a sacred grounds, and then that what was sacred ends up invading this this colony or like this moment. I don't know, it's really good. Like I just love it. And then the chaotic scene, in terms of chaotic scenes, like I think I talked to Chris of like I think I would rate this kind of, it's not like an insult, but it's just more like in terms of strength of the scene, like I prefer the chaotic scene in Parasite over the Host over Mickey, but that's just to say like of how let's just say like again like it's still great. It's just like compared to those, like I think well this is good. Well, it's still great. Like I think those before it were just so like the payoff for those were so crazy.
Yeah.
And we'll kind of get into
complex.
that later, but yeah, for me the Parasite one's the second one. It's really fantastic. The host just stays forever with me. I think like it's one of my favorite scenes in cinema. I think everything the way it's shot, the way the actors work in that movie, and it's so many. It's one of those things of like it's hard to put a genre on it, like because it's comedy, it's tragedy, it's chaos, it's horror, it's like it's social horror. It's nuts. That funeral thing. There's so many fucking layers to
Yeah.
the audio editing, to the movements in the background, what they represent, to what's happening in the foreground, to an improvised drop kick, which is
Yeah.
one of the funniest punchlines in that fucking movie.
Yeah.
But yet it becomes weirdly human and like it's so good. There's so much depth to that one scene. Like
Yeah.
Anyway, but these are both really good. Again, it shows his strengths and like using chaos to show being able to control chaos through like you letting the viewer understand each motivation for each action.
Yeah.
Which is like true like cinematic skill because like each shot has to convey so much information, even if it's for a split second.
And I'd say that by the time we're getting to the last scene with the herd and all that going on, we're tracking so many threads at that moment, and we're never confused. We're always it's masterfully clearly choreographed on the set and then edited so with such clarity of vision that you're never like, oh wait, now what's happening? It's doled out information beat by beat by beat. Yeah
100%. So let's get into just sorry if I'm speeding things up. I'm just looking at the time. Let's get into the falling action, which is what'd you guys get out of it? What'd you get out of the movie? What was your takeaway? What'd you feel? What'd you think? I know Ian, you had something to say.
I have some hot takes. Possibly
go for it. Let's go. Let's do it.
So I'll say
movie
all
bad?
my good things.
Fucking agree. Let's do it. Next.
I've got two gripes. So we've said really nice things. Now I've got two things I want to ask you about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, no. I've got one gripe and one more compliment.
Okay.
I'll say my compliment, which is the dream sequence.
At the end
was chilling. It's chilling and it's frightening because I legitimately was having like a thought while we got the kind of moment of catharsis where we know everything's going to be okay for Mickey 17.
Yeah.
And I thought like, oh man, there's something beautiful about the catharsis a movie can give you for real world dilemmas. And I was kind of thinking that. And then the dream sequence is kind of a little bit of a stab of reality of Toni Collette and Mickey clearly on some level believing they wanted this. You know that a lot of people really wanted this to happen.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen again because enough people do want it to happen. And fuck, that's a really rough message to leave right at the end of the movie, but I think it was a great one, and it was valuable to put down there, which is Mark Ruffalo's character did have people who were really into it the whole time.
This was all of this was only possible because like he had a cult following.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
I was willing to take this expedition.
And
there was someone
Mickey's
like Mickey who was sorry. It's real quick. There was someone like Mickey who was so just didn't value his own life to the point that he was willing to do the worst job on there, which is to be an expendable clown.
Well, and it's presumably human life has already become incredibly devalued. It seems like arbitrary violence is the norm in this world. So like, fuck, that was really rough to basically have the movie say you can beat populists, but just know some people will always want that guy in charge, that kind of vibe.
This shit only flies because there's enough people who want it. Again, like she says,
And that's a bitter pill to swallow, but I think my flowers to him for putting that in. I think that's great.
Yeah.
So here's my one gripe, and this is basically going opposite to what you said earlier, but
Okay.
I kind of had hoped that the movie would end with more than one Mickey being able to exist.
Got you. I kind of
And
agree with you on that.
yeah,
I don't think his sacrifice was quite necessary.
it felt well. So, and that's the thing is like, I can't say that it was wrong to do because, like,
Yeah.
from a structural standpoint, oh, he's conquered his fear of death and that's what allows him to vanquish the fascist. Like, okay, like that's uplifting, and maybe that is what people need to hear. We need to be less afraid of dying than standing up to assholes like that.
And it's a nice flip on his like dying because he doesn't value his life, and instead dying because he does.
Exactly.
He not
So
only values
all of
his,
that,
he values others. Yeah.
all of that to say, and I know we've only got so much time, so I'll just quickly say I had Severance season 2 in the back of my head. I've just finished.
Yeah, I just finished it too.
So I just kept thinking like, no, Mickey 18 was his own dude. It's kind of fucked up that he has to just continue this cycle of death. I kind of had hoped that the end of the movie was like, yeah, and he's actually an individual too, and you don't have to, siphon off yourself in that way. Like, I don't know. What did you guys think of that?
I kind of agree with you on that. There's so much of this movie. Again, there's that line of each Mickey is kind of different when they come out, which already to me that's unarguable proof that each clone is a different person and their human life should be valued, which is what the point of this cloning thing means. Because the real scary thought about cloning that I think this movie kind of explores, but not so much that's the main thing. Well, no, because it kind of leads into the point of the movie. But again, I'm with you with this ending. It leads to the point of the movie, which is like a clone existing doesn't actually. The argument is it doesn't actually devalue, even though a lot of people think it would.
Right.
If anything, it proves more value as we show that clones can never be perfect because they're always going to have things. You're more playing like a god, which is you're creating life.
Yeah.
And it's different now. Their life is just as important as yours. And it's only their further existence will continue to prove how precious life is.
And it's just us perpetuating a system of finding someone who's less human than us. So I don't know. I had all that kind of in my head, so I was like, "Oh man, that's a bummer that they didn't figure that out." But yeah,
it leads to it's weird because it's something a populist, like, oh my god, populist like party or group would come up with, which is this: we inherently want to devalue life.
Yeah.
Except for me, I'm the important one, right?
Right.
But it again, as this movie shows, it bites them in the ass because it proves that life is precious and that it will become more and more precious.
Yeah.
As we further go on, it's a weird proof. It does the opposite of what it's intended to do. Okay, and that's the kind of the way to actually fight like a lot of populist movements or fascist movements that want to devalue life so much, except for the elite few or their quote unquote elite view.
Yeah.
Whereas no, life is inherent. The argument is the natural state of it is life will always be inherently valuable, and we have to realize that, right?
Yes.
No matter how much, it's a weird thing humans do is try to devalue it. And that, you know what? Hey, that's my takeaway because that stems from just our own kind of insecurity.
Yeah.
Our weird thing that we have to prove that we're not worth this life that we're living.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the real nitty gritty. And that's what it's kind of the thing I like about that message a lot. Because it kind of shows the better part of sci-fi, which is what it can do, which is it'll ask you these really fucking tough questions, and a lot of it comes from love of humanity, and to further
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah, I agree.
To
Yeah.
further prove the point. Yeah. As with I kind of wish they both survived too. I think it would have only elevated that. I know what they're going for
Yeah.
with the heroic sacrifice.
Yeah.
To kind of show it's a weird thing. That's a whole thing I think we can talk about with movies too. Is that the most heroic thing a man can do is, and I mean specifically men, is
Yes.
sacrifice themselves,
Hmm. Yeah.
martyrize themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's weird. That's a weird thought. I won't go into that. I feel like that can be a conversation forever. But
Mhm.
yeah, I kind of wish it kept with the value of life, right? I wish it had a
Yeah.
Godzilla -1 in.
I was about to say that's what it
Man,
sounds like you're going at. Yeah.
Godzilla -1 is a real fucking good movie. You
Yeah.
can, that kind of touched upon everything I got out of the movie too.
Oh, sick.
So Nick, what'd you get out of the movie? Unless there was
I
something else.
gotta.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah, go ahead, Nick.
Well, 'cause for time's sake, all I'll say is that in terms of a Bong Joon-ho film, this is definitely
Yeah, we can talk.
they're all different, but I don't know about ranking them because then it'll
Okay.
just become like what I got across from it because they're all very different. And this
They're
is
all incredibly
is his first adaptation,
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
like a
that
whole
is
original
right. I don't even think that hippo. I keep calling it the hippo one. That's not what it is. It's like a
thing.
mythological creature. But
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that's based off a tale, or like a
yeah,
myth. But it's not an adaptation. I think you're right.
maybe that or Snowpiercer. I don't know, but
Oh shit! Yeah, that's no. Snowpiercer is his weakest movie. I've always talked about that.
I don't.
Even though
I
there's
no,
so
that's.
many. Go ahead.
I would say yeah, no, that's more the Weinstein's fault than
But that I was
Bong
gonna
Joon-ho.
say once you know the production problems, especially
Yes.
with Weinstein
Yeah.
and all of that, you can see it in that fucking movie. Just the
Yeah.
arguments that are happening from scene to scene behind it, and what
Yeah.
the movie should be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Snowpiercer is an adaptation, I believe.
Yeah. That was a cyberpunk novel from the fucking late 90s, I want to say, is where it
Yeah,
came
and
from.
it's not, and it's specifically not. No, you're thinking of Snow Crash.
Shit, you're right.
Snowpiercer. No, the train thing exists.
Okay.
That at least in that book, but yeah, that's the worst one because it's what turned them off from working with like American studios until like now.
yeah.
Gosh.
Well,
Yeah.
Snowpiercer is based off the French book.
Yeah, there you go.
It's just transport. It's just literally transportations. But
Yeah, they would make like a TV. They would come back and make a TV series about it, but I don't think he has anything to do with it.
yeah. But I mean, like in terms of, so for this one, I think I did really enjoy it overall. I think there's definitely things I'm gonna have to like rewatch and sit with.
Mhm.
I don't know if like
I'll probably read the
the
book.
yeah, same.
Yeah.
I think if anything, it motivated me to like check out the book.
Yeah.
I did the same with Heroes of the Flower Moon, where it's like I think, despite it being 3 hours, there was stuff I wish
It
I
still
got to see
wasn't
more of.
enough Scorsese.
I know because it's so much. It's such a thing to
Yeah.
unpackage. But
Yeah.
no, same with this. I think there's a lot that I guess character wise, I'm more interested in like the inside of. But overall, like I really enjoyed it, and
I did too.
yeah, it's I mean it's an amazing world. I think it had a cool setup for everything, and
Yeah.
I understand not everyone's too into Mark Ruffalo's performance, but personally, I really enjoyed it
I think it
for
works.
what it was.
Yeah.
I think we're all just a little tired of the Trump stuff, but I think the televangelist angle works a lot
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
It goes a long way.
And I mentioned the Trump thing, I think, specifically just because of the one scene where there's a bunch of sycophants in red hats. But like,
Oh, not even that. I think the way he his like the accent and the tone and inflection he chooses is very much inspired by that too.
there's Trumpian pauses in his delivery a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah, the way
that's true.
he enunciates words. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good movie. Didn't like it as much as Parasite. I think I'm like ever thought about that, and I think I'm on that train.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then The Host is still like one of my favorite movies of all time, so that hasn't changed yet. All right. So having watched this, what would you recommend in our denouement to the viewers before I do the little announcement for what our next movie is going to be? Well, I'll go with the sci-fi. You know what? Hey, go see if you can. I have no clue if it's still on the internet. I haven't looked or anything. Daniel O'Brien, now a senior writer for
Last
Late Night with John, or Last Night with John Oliver, or Last Weekend. Fuck, dude, whatever. The
Last
John
Week
Oliver
Tonight.
show. Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. Let me get that shit right. Wrote an article called Fight or Fuck. What would you do with your like something along that line? It's about clones. It's the exact thing I talk about. And listen, I make jokes. I forgot to mention that in my what we got out of it. I made a joke about fighting. I'm actually on the fuck side because their life's important too.
Yes, that's
and
right.
They deserve to be made. However, I totally get if you murder your clone. I say if you murder your clone, you got to do it real fast and real quick.
I'm gonna say it now. I don't get it. I'm the opposite. I'm anti. I'm not just not a murder clone. I'm anti-murdering.
If they only live like 5 minutes, I don't know. It's like what they miss. How much do you value potential?
Or
was it always meant to be this way?
In this argument?
Yeah.
I love this shit so much, you guys. That's what I recommend. What do you guys recommend?
You
oh my god, you guys! We've been doing this for an hour and a half now. Like anything, sci-fi, fucking Star Wars.
Okay,
I've got one. I'll throw out really quick.
Go again.
If you liked a movie about clones, try Michael Keaton in Multiplicity. I think that was 96 when that came out.
Yeah.
And you know what? Multiplicity does subscribe to the belief that all of those clones are ultimately individuals because they all develop individual personalities that are clearly different, but also romancing the why can't I think of the wife's name? She was in everything. Back to the Future 3. Mary Steenburgen.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Multiplicity.
Okay. I have a deep cut to make that revolves around clones and everything you talked about.
Is it the DC
so I have two options.
Okay.
So it's about an island of dinosaurs, because all the dinosaurs are clones. Remember?
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your Dinosaur Island movie, dude?
And I'm so glad, Ian, you brought up Spielberg.
Oh,
Billy and the Clonosaurus.
Dinosaur Island. No, I'd recommend, in terms of a deep cut movie, to recommend is a 70s clone horror movie called The Boys from Brazil.
Ooh, dude, nice.
That's a deep cut.
Okay, so Ian, Boys from Brazil is about a doctor who clones Hitler 95 times and hopes to raise the resulting boys in Brazil identical to Hitler, and his ultimate plan is to make leaders forming a Fourth Reich.
Yes.
And where it goes after, as one of the clones becomes a hunter of other clones, like Blade style with vampires, it's pretty wild. And for 70s, it's pretty fresh. It's a very fresh topic. Yeah. But I totally recommend that, Boys from Brazil, 70s horror. It's really good. I really liked it.
What a great suggestion. I love Ear 11 stories. He did he's also Stepford and Rosemary's Baby, I think, as well. Killer writer.
I was gonna make the suggestion. I think it's a DC or Marvel story about a dude who has clones and they all go live lives, and then when one of them dies, they all subsume into one other clone, and now it's just one guy having the memories of all these lives. I couldn't, for the life of me, remember what it was called, where you find it, so that's why I didn't recommend it. If anyone knows, go look it up. But good shit.
Post in the comments. Pop off.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Click like, subscribe. I'm supposed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's it for this one. The 15th will be Love and Basketball. I believe that's what we decided on.
Yes, sir.
For our year of rom-coms continues. So look forward to that.
Yay!
Other than that, you think about, would you fight or fuck your clone?
Tram off in comments. Like,
Tram
comment,
off in the
subscribe.
comments.
Fuck your clone.
Click like, subscribe. Bye.
Bye.